Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sandman podcast. I am your host, Brian W. Tosh, joined as always by our resident hack checker, Oliver Fullington.
Yo.
Our producer and co-host, El Hilo del Hack, Tyler Fullington. And the man whose stories got stories, the hardcore icon. He's got 99 problems, but bananas ain't one. The Sandman Hack. How the hell is it going today?
Dude, honestly, I'm ready to die. I might not make it through the program.
Stop it.
On my phone, it says it's 104 degrees in here right now. I'm wilting fast.
You're
Dude,
lying.
you were a professional wrestler. You can't handle a little heat in a room.
I'm old.
You're young at heart, man. That's Fonzie chiming in.
That's saying a lot, Fonzie. He's 69.
So we are live today from Suplex Vintage Wrestling on South Street, 628 South Street. We are here with one of the co-owners. This is a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, guys. My name is Mike, co-owner here at Suplex. All the Suplex stores, we're in the Vintage Wrestling. My partner Chris couldn't make it here today, but we're here to rep the shop. So, guys, thank you. This is like a crazy pleasure. I walked right into it, so I'm still kind of like, a little.
That's kind of what we have going on here, man.
Hey, he walked in, it took a couple hits of hash. He's like, all right, I'm ready.
We got J.A. here. Put it in a nutshell, the store is because of him.
Yeah.
Really? Please explain.
I mean, ECW is the inspiration for all of this.
Okay.
Our wrestling, love or whatever.
Damn God.
And then, we have to have all the other shit for everyone else. But if you've been on the second floor of the store, it's an ECW. We're paying homage to everything.
Yeah,
we don't
it's a
even
shrine.
sell the shirts. We collect them. They're expensive. We have tons of them. People try to throw money at us. We tell them no all day. And it's all because of
I don't know
your
about
era.
that business model. But
Listen, I know, but we like this shit too much. But it's literally because of the things you did. So, dude, thank you, man. This is literally
you're welcome.
more or less, I think we owe you at least
Send out
5%.
for a big
So.
bag of ice. I'll sit on it.
Someone get some ice. We'll put it in front of a fan, old school.
So all those old shirts, is that just stuff you guys found online or from, other places or?
A little bit of both. People know they can come in here and buy, sell, trade. They come in often and want to trade.
Oh,
Have these
okay.
shirts they sat on for years, and they don't want to sell them either. But the trade is a little more organic.
Something else
Right.
they want more or
And then
whatever?
some guys are just done or had a kid or moving or, a million other things. And we get dudes that sat on 20-year collections coming with 100 tees that you guys only
That's
made
insane.
a couple hundred of them
Right.
back then.
And
So
it's
they're
all
small
dead
runs.
stock,
Yeah,
It's,
or maybe worn once or twice.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are autographed, which is always a nice touch.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
sure.
I got to ask you, if you had to say out of everything you guys have in the store, what would you say is the crown jewel of what you got?
We're here, aren't we?
No, well, yeah, besides you guys. I'm saying, yeah, right? Jesus, he's got to put himself over.
I know,
I mean,
seriously.
What would you say out of one piece of merch, or what would you say is the crown jewel for you guys?
I would say in general it's the ECW T-shirt collection. They literally have more ECW original T-shirts than anybody.
Championship wrestling shirts, hard holiday hell that you can't find. These are ones where we don't. What would be the plus in selling them? when you
Right.
can't
There were
get
some I
anything?
saw down there
Yeah,
on that
literally.
second level I haven't seen since I was,
And there's
yeah.
other little shit I don't even know that we have.
Jerry Lynn was here one time. He saw his shirt. He goes, "Wow, there's only 200 of these ever made." He's like, "I
Right.
shipped everyone out and or sold it out of my car. I no longer own one." Hector, who's downstairs right now, goes, "Well, here you do. You own one
I
again."
think they're
We gave him
pirated.
his shirt back.
Yo, you're saying they have knockoffs?
Dude, I want to do a forensic analysis
will love
on
this.
the
Guess where-
threads that shirt is made from.
Wow.
You know where we just came from?
Where?
Berlin Mart, and we bought out every Singapore cane they had.
Where's
And we
that
were
at?
in New Jersey?
in Jersey.
Yeah,
And
I know that mark.
I think that's where you said you got your original one of your outfits
No,
from.
that was the one at the racetrack that's no more.
No wonder, because we were walking around looking for his outfit and he couldn't find it, and everyone thought we were fucking.
What, are you talking about the red, white, blue
Well, yeah.
pants?
Yeah, we were all gonna show up dressed as you.
Oh, that's great.
You're talking about
I don't
fuck out
think
of the
anybody
box.
wants to wear that stuff anymore. To be honest, they probably got rid of all that.
He had 8 of them. We bought them all. So we're like, all right, I mean, we'll fuck around.
So the store has morphed into more of a media company now. We have multiple podcasts. We do a podcast where we're rewatching ECW.
Dude, you're totally doing your job.
Yeah.
this guy fucking works.
Dude, he's a wrestling aficionado, dude.
So,
Come on.
The guy.
Yeah.
So we're in 1995, and we're watching the Public Enemy, and we even said they had to have bought those outfits at the Garden State Park, and that's where you said you bought yours. We called
Well,
it.
the Pitbull's dad used to have a big hot dog stand and stuff like that.
Really?
And, dude, flea markets are like some. All right, there's a couple favorite places that I could be by myself: a flea market and in
A museum. A
and
wishy-washy.
and it's a small world in fucking in Disney.
That is true.
Oh,
He ain't
hell
lying about
yeah.
that. That's his favorite place on the planet. It's a small world.
I like
Not
it.
creepy at all, the Sandman, but
All right, so you guys, with everything that you've collected,
Yeah.
what's the one thing out there? What is your whale that you guys have not been able to find so far? Whether it's a shirt, a toy, a belt.
There
What
was
do you?
a shirt we were just talking about that we couldn't get. It was
Come on, jump in. What was the shirt?
it was one of the white original Eastern Championship wrestlings. It was actually just shown recently in '95.
just the white and black one.
I think so. Yeah, because we just passed where you and the Funker switched.
Funk out of the box.
Yeah. Return of the Funker.
I mean, that's just.
No, I just watched that recently, and I forgot totally that
You know how
DC Drake was in the box also with him.
Really?
Forgot totally.
I knew it was you. I knew it wasn't you because of the shoes. You had the Jordan 10s on that you were wearing at the time, and Funk came out in like some Fila's, and I was like, I already know it's
that
not
ain't him. That
Yeah,
ain't him.
Straight
Fit
off
check.
the Jordan 10s, man.
Yeah, but that reaction of him turning
Oh, it was the
and
best.
turning to the crowd,
Dude.
because some people didn't know who it was.
It's
Perfectly
probably our best
executed.
moment we've watched so far on the podcast,
Yeah.
if you really think about it.
nuts. Like, I'm screaming. Terry Funk's my hero.
Yeah. We
I
got a Terry
mean-
Funk t-shirt yesterday, signed, and it has a back print, and his pants are down, and
Funk
his ass
you?
is out. No, it's not a Funk you. It's like it's a different one, but his ass is out on
I
the
was gonna
back.
say his pants down ass. That sounds
He's
like
got a
Terry.
Band-Aid on his ass, and he's branded.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
awesome.
like an awesome shirt.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
pretty good. But I would say it's got to be ECW shirts. And when you were saying some of our favorites, we got an original Chic shirt a couple weeks ago, which is like so hard to find. You
Right.
never.
Oh, the
come-
original
It's
Hawk
old.
Tour.
It's old, like
Yeah.
the original. What's that, like 1949?
It had to be
Well, you're talking
53.
the chic. You're
The
talking
Chic,
Sabu's
Chic.
uncle. Chic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
The original Chic.
sings New Japan
Same-
jacket.
He brought in a couple.
What, a
old-
Rivera
We
jacket?
got one of you, a dead stock.
He's like he must
The,
have like,
um,
a few pieces of merch. and
When
we
he's
have
holding the Singapore cane,
The original tee.
the original black with white.
What-
I took that for
I
myself.
saw that. I saw that
Then
out
we
there.
had another one.
Oh,
It didn't
okay.
fit me, and I traded my
My
friend.
favorite shirt of Hacks was the Blood, Sweat, and Beers T-shirt.
Oh, we got.
I've seen a couple of them. Like that is by far my
Yeah.
favorite.
What's the
my
one that you
saying-
designed?
The first couple was the ones
The
with,
very first one.
with me standing in like beer,
Yeah.
and then I'm wearing the skull pants, and then I'm wearing a shirt with a picture of me and a picture of me and,
And
a
a
picture
picture
of
of
me.
me.
That's the one we
An
we just
Inception
got.
shirt?
The black
That
one.
was all
We got the
me.
black one.
The Inception shirt.
Yeah, right. the
Yeah, that-
Inception
that
hack
is-
shirt.
Yeah, and then the politically incorrect and damn proud of it. That's my shirt.
They're all just. They're all.
But that's on the
classic.
back of stuff. You know what I mean?
The
Yeah, the
blood,
work-
sweat, and beers is just. I mean, they're all just amazing, man. Yeah. But I would say that it's really the ECW stuff, or maybe some of the rare Japan stuff.
That stuff there wasn't a lot of that printed, like you
No.
said.
I
So
think
it's
someone
like
told us there
very
was
hard.
like 2 to 240 or something
Right.
of them made, and I'm like, think
I
about.
know. That's why I'm saying it's like if you're saying there's only 200 printed, and how many years ago was it? Is it 20?
20?
30,
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, 25, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30, yeah,
So,
30.
all right, now think about this. If you only really print 200, let's say 50 to 75 out the door, no chance
Done.
right away that aren't around. Is there another 125 people that put that shirt away that long ago?
I'd say 50% of them have to be chopped too, and then you maybe have like 40 that are saved
Okay.
over all these
Gotcha.
years. And we get those guys that come in, and they're like, and they never have just one. I'm talking stacks.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Well, if you're
that's
gonna
the dude,
save,
that's
I was
what
gonna
they
say if you're
do.
gonna save it, you're gonna say it like yeah,
Right.
that's not
And
the
they
only one you're
usually will
saving.
have their favorite guys. Like someone will come with like 6 of 7 of yours, 8 Sabu ones, a bunch of Taz ones, and then we'll get some rare ones. Some one-offs like a Mike Awesome shirt we got recently, which is like
All right,
crazy.
Mike
All right,
Awesome.
Mike.
Yeah.
The mullet.
Dude, I
Since-
used to love that Eliminator shirt with the
Oh, it was
total-
awesome.
I
Yeah,
know
Great
this
piece
store
of
hasn't been around long, but since COVID has the price of everything leveled off finally? Like, 'cause you know, the jump was like hockey
it was
sticker.
You know what happened? All the good shit kind of stayed where it was, or just a little
And
bit,
the other stuff.
and all the mid shit fell down. So you can get like filler pieces or stuff that everyone has, but that good stuff is just hard to find. The collectors don't want to come off of it.
Some people tell me there's $1 they can't find of mine, and I'm like, seriously?
Do you know which one? Or
Yeah, okay.
Good luck.
what about the sellout?
He
on
was
Congrats
hoping
on that.
the
you would
elite
know.
figure, Hacks
I don't
Elite
know. I
figure.
think the
Congrats on
WCW one's
on the
probably
sellout.
pretty
Oh
rare.
yeah, they.
That's a lot of fucking.
I think
He's
Chris
still
said
over.
Chris said his new one that he just got 1,800 sold out the first day.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it was the first hour. It was a mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, the first 6 minutes.
I might have crashed it for a little while. That's why they said today.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
I don't know. I mean, it is a cool looking doll, like the original hack piece, but
the whole gimmick of it is awesome. You know, with the packaging, everything, man. It's it makes you want to buy the shit. That's the people. That's it's what people want. That's why your stuff is still.
I know, and
around,
everybody,
you know?
and I'm sure a lot of people are buying 2 of them too, with the American flag pants.
I love
and
my
the
body
other
in
ones
the
too.
thing,
So
though.
I
I'm a
wonder how
beast.
much.
It looks
They,
svelte.
I wonder
It
how
looks
much they
svelte.
made
You
of,
really do.
of each of them.
If you have a variant, that's when people go crazy. They always
100%.
want the bloody one or the whatever one or yeah.
It's so fascinating meeting the young kids that come into the store. They'll like know so much about wrestling that happened 25, 30 years
Oh,
ago.
thank God for
But they-
Peacock.
they
and-
don't, like,
and-
You don't do that in like in NBA or MLB.
Well,
It's
yeah, for
crazy.
sure.
And like so many people young know about your whole entire career, and like that's a testament.
well, that's a great thing for like that WWE has, with the Peacock Network and everything like that. People can go back and watch. I mean, they're all still relevant.
I like how they put a lot of the stuff on because they could have easily just kept it to like all
Right.
all the bullshit.
I
I'm
always
like,
tell-
you can find some good ones.
I always
some
tell people,
rarities.
steal it online somewhere. You got to listen to the music, okay?
Yeah,
That's
the
the number
ECW
one
music,
thing.
it's not
You
the
have
same.
to
I
steal
know
it
that's
online.
the only
know?
unfortunate
what
part
we're
about
doing
it.
right now on our hardcore happy hour where we do the weekly show. We just watched them through from 95 on, and we got the original files now. So we have the original music, the original commercials, which are hilarious because it's like, they just showed one that was a 3-piece cassette tape you could buy of all deaths in aviation, and it's just they were like, what was it called, Roman?
Challenges of flight.
And it's 3 tapes of you watching plane crashes, but it was like those nature videos you could buy back in the
That's
day.
some
Now-
90s shit right there.
Yeah, seriously, like, just
freerotten.com.
Paul
I
like
wanna
run
hear
that on there.
dude. I
Yeah,
thought I
straight
was gonna die in a
carnage,
plane
fucking-
accident.
Who was in charge of all like the advertising and stuff on the show back then? Like, how did that go?
Who knows?
I have no
I think
idea.
it was Tommy was in charge of a
always-
lot
I'm going
of
to
it.
pass the heat off to Tod Gordon, actually.
That's what I figured. Like, do you
All those
remember
shitty
buying these
commercials.
commercials?
Yeah, that one.
That's what I
Remember the plane
Do you-
remember the plane crashes?
Yeah, because I'm like, some. Yeah,
the
that's
Carver W. Reed had a name
See?
drop
Yeah.
that in there. We'll get to
Absolutely,
that.
yeah,
We'll get to that.
Hey, he's got a book out too. We'll get to
Listen,
that.
hold
too.
on.
We'll get to that.
Listen, if
Good.
you guys are anywhere in the tri-state area, or even if you're traveling, this is a must-stop for any wrestling fan.
No doubt.
You need to come to Suplex Vintage
Dude,
Wrestling.
just the wall when you walk in with the bell. Whose idea was that?
I built it.
Oh, he's
cool.
taking
Oh,
credit.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
that's
it.
cool.
We'll ask,
though, you know
we'll ask
what I
Chris
mean?
Yeah,
later.
we'll ask-
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like take a picture in front of
Yeah.
that thing,
It's the
for
best.
people.
And then the SVW sign in red across from it. I'm telling you, man. But you see how everything's
Absolutely.
ECW. Like,
Well, dude,
inspired?
this is the birthplace,
Dude,
so
I'm
it only
telling
makes
you, man.
sense.
Yes,
but the
it's-
store is awesome. It's 3 level. Everything you want or you're looking for, come here and get
It's
it.
a little
They
hot
have
up
it.
here on the third though.
Also, we're moving our sneaker store, which has our clothing, and then our card store from Bainbridge.
Is that the one that's like 50
The one,
yards
yeah,
away?
the one that's right there. Yeah. That you seen it the other day in Shambles.
When you knocked up on the other day by mistake.
We're moving it next door, right next door.
Oh,
to
yeah, I
here.
walk
Oh,
in and
nice.
I'm like,
That's
I
fucking,
don't
I'm gonna
remember
be
it
super
looking like
convenient.
this.
Yes.
Super convenient.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys again for coming and doing this and allowing us to come on. And like I said, if we could, plug just the hardcore happy hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
catch
for
us
sure,
on there.
man. Anything.
100%. When is it?
It is. When is it? Posted. Every Monday it'll be posted. The new episode.
you're
We were off
competing with
last
us,
week,
okay.
and then we just got into a little beef with these kids that do a podcast here. And it's funny because me and him are
The Gilmans? The Gilmans?
Yeah,
I watch
we're-
your Instagram.
Yeah, we're beefing with the Gilmans right now. They're like, they're 10 years old.
Are
It's
you going to
awesome.
put him over or no?
Oh no, I'm
That
gonna
doesn't work for
beat
me,
the shit
brother.
out of
That
these
don't work
fucking
for me,
kids.
brother.
I kicked the one last week.
Wait a minute. So please tell me you charge them rent.
Oh, I'm charging them rent. I'm taking a piece of the show. I'm doing
Get a
everything.
candy machine up here.
Taking-
too.
Taking their lunch money, everything.
Oh, I already steal their lunch money. Yeah, these kids don't stand a chance.
Guys, if you
I'm
have
telling
ever
you.
have the opportunity, don't do what I did and wait to come to Suplex Vintage Wrestling. Get here today. The whole crew here, everybody, they are true fans. They're keeping the culture alive.
Yes.
And this is like for fans, by fans. And
True fans. Or we built the fucking store by hand. You know, I mean, we did this.
Now you can see it. You can see the love in the building.
And mention your podcast here, and we'll show you some extra love.
Yeah, absolutely. Drop the
Sandman
Sandman
after
podcast.
you listen to the Sandman podcast on Monday, then you can do then you can listen to the happy hour.
And guys,
podcast.
if you ever were able to, or maybe come on and chat on our show one week,
100%,
absolutely,
set something up. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be this hot.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna take care of it.
We'll wait till Christmas time.
I'll rent a hotel room or some shit. We'll get that thing cooking.
No, absolutely, man. Great having you guys on,
guys,
man.
thank you
Absolute
again.
pleasure. Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having
today.
us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Mike, and that's
J.A.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you. So we are back here at Suplex Vintage Wrestling, and we have a special guest today, the founder of Extreme Championship Wrestling, owner of Carver W. Reed, the Extreme Commissioner himself, Tod Gordon. Todd, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Best podcast going. Sandman podcast. Can't beat it.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Thank
Todd.
you, Todd. That means a lot coming from you, man. Look at him. Little clap.
With the
right
golf
there.
clap.
What is this guy,
No,
man?
it's my Wimbledon clap.
Okay, very classy. of
Your
you.
Coco golf clap?
Very classy.
There
of
you go.
What was it like the first time you ever met Hack back in the day?
It was like an instant connection. I don't even know how to explain it to you. We were born the same day, same birthday. We
forgot
both
about
were
that.
complete Philadelphia, all sports fans. You know, any sport there was, we would go back and forth. Who knew more? Who remembered more? Back
Remember,
then,
we didn't have computers in our pocket.
we were
then.
computers back then, especially with all the
Yeah,
different
so nobody
things.
could fact check you back
Yeah,
then like
hack
we
check.
need to now.
Hack check.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, it was great. Just
I'm
sound,
telling you,
just-
I'm right. I'm right.
Just sound convincing.
It was in the '64 Phillies. We're trying to
Oh,
better how it was.
man.
We go through all kinds of stuff like that, and then it just like evolved. And then I started to run the first show at the sports bar. Go in and meet the guy, and they set the whole deal up. He goes, "All right, one thing, Sandman can't be on the show." I said, "What? I didn't run a show yet." He goes, "No, Sandman can't be on the show."
There was a sport. It was a sports, but they had dual piano players. So we loved dual piano players back then. Remember, this is like
I've
Magic
been to
Johnson, like
I've been to a dual
93,
piano
like-
bar. It's fun.
Yeah, they're,
it's a good
they're
time. Yeah,
great.
it's cool.
And I don't know. And the girl manager there said I did something or whatever.
You probably
and
did.
I probably yes, of course. I did.
Allegedly.
Well, and then that was the reason why I was banned.
You pulled an Eskin?
Yo,
Maybe.
too soon, Ty. Too soon.
Like, yo,
My bad,
man,
yeah,
come
yeah,
here.
my
So how did you smooth it over?
So I said to the guy, "Listen, you know, I haven't even run a show yet. The guy, why don't we start fresh here?" Like, he goes, "No, I'm saying you can't commit." I said, "How about this? How about if you apologize to the girl?" He goes, "I need just one show. You don't put him on." So we made a deal that he would only be off the first 2 shows, and then he could start again full time. Sort of, I call him. All you do is apologize. I'm not apologizing to anybody.
Sounds about right.
I said, "Well, I guess you're not gonna be working then." He goes, "Oh, all right, I'll apologize."
Also sounds about right.
And that was really our first time getting him out of a jam. One of many.
One of many. Okay.
It became a career for me. He's getting him out of trouble.
Like this guy's career and watching him in ECW, and you really see when you start to watch the old Surfer Sandman and then him morph into the character that he became, which is basically just Hack being Hack.
Right.
Like,
That was all his idea.
I know, like that whole thing when you see in the dark side of the ring when that light bulb goes off in his head, I don't have to wear wrestling boots no more. Like that.
Greatest freaking.
I know. He's like, holy shit.
I'm
I can just
free.
go out as myself.
I can be creative as myself. That whole, like,
It
walking
was his
through-
persona in real life or something that was attractive to people. People, I mean, they gravitated towards the guy. So naturally, it would be only natural for him to go out there and be that person in the ring instead of some guy with a surfboard walking around trying to look like he was from California. You know? It was Philadelphia accent, and it was ridiculous.
And you know, Hack, that ain't him. Surfboard, wetsuit.
Not
Have you
even
ever been
close.
on a surfboard
What
in
are
your
you
life?
kidding me? I stumbled onto the Bonsai Pipeline during the actual championships. Me, Michelle, and Buck when we were in Hawaii.
What was the tallest wave?
Oh no, they shut it down because it was so bad. They had only shut it down. No, I swear to God.
All right.
Okay.
Hack check.
Hack check, hack check, hack check, hack
Because in
check.
Honolulu,
Hack check, please.
there's a big road, like a big main road that circles the whole island. So I saw a little opening. I'm like, hey, let's go down here. And all these people are like maybe like 800, 1,000 yards away. And these people are walking towards you. I'm like, what are all they doing? They're like, the World Surfing Championships going on, dude.
I mean, it was probably
It was
pretty
like,
cool.
wow.
Yeah.
Dude, literally like 50 yards. You're standing there 50 yards away. Like waves are coming in like 20 feet high, but they break in like the last like 20 yards.
This room is like the fucking arena, by the way, in July. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, see you people. I'm not the only puss in here.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's not bitching about it.
Yes, you are. It's to me.
So-
Semi-bitch.
One of the things, Todd, that Hack always says is when he goes and he does the conventions and the shows on the weekend, is that he's getting paid to do family reunions. Why is it that 30 years later, ECW is still this big family?
You know, that's a hell of a good question. I'm going to say the answer is probably because we start out as a family. So when you have family members, you don't get rid of them. And no matter where they live or where they move to, they're still going to be your family, right? Your real brother, your shoot sister, you know, whatever it may be. So we were like that. We cared about each other. Like, we loved being together. We didn't care the shows that were going on. We just loved being in that locker room together. There was a camaraderie that just never left. And that's what the fans picked up on, too, because they became part of that camaraderie in their own way. They were an extension of what we were.
Yeah.
And even stars that came in will be like, man, this is a pretty freaking cool locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's everybody there all grinding like together to make it and do the same thing. So it's just everybody's going to get naturally closer and, you know, form that close bond that everybody has.
I remember we had this little monitor in the back. I said the only thing we could watch was going on out front. And Hawk,
he means a little monitor, like 12-inch black and
Yeah,
white.
literally.
And
Yeah.
Hawk came walking through, and everybody's in a crowd around the monitor. He goes, "Whoa, what's going on? What's going to happen?" We went, "Nothing." He goes, "Why you all crowd around the monitors? Everyone to see each other's shit. Everyone to see the next guy do well. Everybody's cheering for each other. That never happens in the business." He goes, "This is a fucking crazy locker room, man. I love this fucking place."
Yep.
Wow.
I remember being in the locker room, just have my chair, watching the monitor with everybody else. Everybody was always watching the monitor, unless you're putting together your match or something like that. But yeah,
No, that's so cool.
Or doing drugs.
Oh, well,
The
that.
stairwell, smoking pot with the pit bulls.
hey,
So,
got to do what you got to do.
So Todd, I do have to ask you about the family though, because I recently, and we talked about this on the show, Paul Heyman gets inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, and he gives a 30-minute speech when he's getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I made a point of it on the show that he didn't even shout you out.
Nope.
And also, I made sure I went back and listened because you guys were saying, I don't know if he did. I made back to go listen. And he made a point of shouting out Stephanie and Triple H and all these other people.
Well, that's his new group. That's his family now.
I know, but when you have that moment for him, and I know people when they're winning an Oscar or something, they could forget somebody. But how do you forget Tod Gordon?
He didn't forget me. He omitted me intentionally.
I mean, Paul's one of the smartest dudes in the bit. You know, he knows.
He knew exactly what he's doing.
Your recognition for, like, people hear the story that they hear from the WWE version of events. And I would implore you out there, if you're listening to this show, pick up Todd is God, because that's the actual version of events that happened.
True story.
True story. Written by Sean Oliver and Todd.
Authorized version.
The authorized
the
version.
unauthorized
right?
version.
Verified.
Verified.
Put a blue check on
right
it.
now sounds like that book was approved by Tod Gordon.
Well, no, I just want to get to
Tod Gordon has approved this message.
I just want to get to the point that, you know, a lot of people, when they hear this story of ECW, they are completely forgetting the beginning and the foundation of the company.
It's true.
And to me, I find it to be, you know, that's...
He rewrote history the more successful he got. So as he became bigger and bigger of a star, it was his ECW. I mean, he did an interview here with John Clark on his podcast where he said, and I quote, "I decided I picked Philadelphia to be the place where I would bring my." You didn't pick Philadelphia.
You did.
You got hired here.
Right.
The fuck you
Hot stuff brought him in, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
He came
okay.
in, he was just a guy working, doing interviews.
Okay.
But he came here and he started creating. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But that's the way he likes to have people think of it, so it's only him in the spotlight.
Now, I'm not taking shots, obviously.
Listen,
Heyman
it's his gimmick, you know?
Yeah, look, he's a genius, right? And whether or not he ever even went to ECW, I'm sure he would have been something in the business.
Of course.
He's an absolute genius, right? But the fact that he doesn't give you the credit that you deserve, I find to be very unfortunate, because the real fans out there know the real history, and the real history started with you, Todd.
I agree. He did the same thing during the one night stand. He came out there and said, "Oh yeah, and also want to thank cameraman Rob Phone and Tod Gordon, and also want." I was like, "It's a joke." He just wants to be the guy. He wanted to be Vince all his life. That's what he wants. He wants to be the star.
Well, if you know, Eastern Championship, not Extreme, Eastern Championship Wrestling was the start. Tod Gordon, obviously. What made you, you know, you're a jeweler, you know, by trade, whatever. What made you start the wrestling business?
Well, like anybody else who's in it, I loved this. I was 5 years old. I mean, I was like an addict to it. I couldn't stand not missing that 1 hour on Saturday mornings to watch the WWF. It was like there was appointment TV, even though there was only like maybe one half decent match the whole hour.
All right, listen. The guy that was running the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance,
Joel Goodhart.
took everybody's money because he said he was bringing in Ric Flair. Didn't bring in Ric Flair. Closed down the company. Todd picked up the fucking pieces and fucking took us to stardom.
Okay, so
That's
longest.
really how it happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say the longest short of
What
it.
he said.
No, it's
So you
funny.
never wanted to be like a worker yourself? Just
Yeah, if I was about 6 inches taller, about 60 pounds heavier.
Yeah,
Now I
what are
am
you
60
talking
pounds
about?
heavier.
Fonzie had a classic match, man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about-
remember
we'll have to get to
95.
that.
Fonzie carried him.
Yo, that was that was a 5-star classic anyway.
Hey, it was right
man.
down the middle.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
down the middle.
Fonzie gets up and be like, remember when Todd carried you in that?
Oh man, so Todd, I gotta ask you, with the business being as up as it is right now, and you're somebody who has direct
Hockey stick, baby.
you have direct involvement in the creative and the promoting aspects of the business. Where do you see the business going in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I think this whole Netflix thing is going to really change everything because now they're going to be able to curse on Monday Night Raw. They're going to be able to bleed on Monday Night Raw because now it's a pay service. So they're not going to have the same restrictions they have being on regular cable TV.
Yep.
So this whole thing, who knows where they can elevate
They're going to
to
reach
now.
80% of the planet on Netflix.
That's why it's $5 billion.
80
$5 billion deal. Can you imagine that?
It's
for
insane.
one show.
It's insane.
Well, it's the same thing that the NBA, the NFL, they're all doing. They're getting on. They're buddying with those streaming services because they're trying to get overseas. All the, like all those eyes
countries
people.
are going, like
Right.
Saudi Arabia pays them like $50 million.
And last night we were
every time
you and I
they're there.
watching the Phillies Braves game on Apple TV Plus. It was the only
Right.
place you could see
Everybody's
it.
doing. Yeah,
Oh my
Everybody's
because they're
God!
trying
By
to
the way,
get
it
more
was
eyes on
so
them.
horrible trying to have Todd change from the wrestling to
Oh, you'd
Apple
be one
TV.
to talk.
I'm
Ty,
sorry.
what
that-
channel is this? How do I? My phone's doing
Yeah,
this.
we
How
I
go
do
feel
to
like I'm talking to my parents
When
trying
you
to tell them how
go
to
to a service,
install
you
an
gotta-
app.
Yeah, you know how.
Yeah, you got to get out of the one,
Yeah.
go back to the other, get out of it. Yeah,
and
it's a
Mr.
pain.
Patience over here, he wants to, like, why don't you just have
What's
another
taking
fucking
so long?
TV?
It was the longest freaking. Like,
I have two TVs. Why don't you have
45
two
seconds of my life.
TVs?
We had to get his wife to come up and even just get us there. Todd couldn't figure out how to scan the barcode.
Yeah, I'm
She's
not.
like, yeah, you did the same
Look
thing
at him putting all
before.
this heat on time.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, how you do it? He'd be like,
I'm just trying to let you know that there's somebody that's as competent as I am when it comes to technical.
You invite the guy on
technically,
your
yeah.
show.
We are
Absolutely.
Bury
so
him.
horrible.
Technically, forget about it.
Fair enough.
Fonzie's way better, but Scorp's, I think Scorp might be the most technical one of us.
Well, we already knew
Like
that.
with computers and stuff like that.
So,
I can get porn.
Oh,
Really, that's all that counts.
well, yeah, that's really
what got
all
me
you
to sleep
need.
last night.
But
no, it's a pleasure to have you on, Todd.
No, it's
and
pleasure to be here. By the way, can I just tell you straight up,
Yeah.
on the blowing smoke up your ass, you do a fucking great job hosting this thing.
oh man, dude,
you
thanks
really
so
genuinely
much.
do. Like, it's a natural.
Oh,
natural.
Jesus, we're never going to
put me over, brother.
well, yeah, he's got
No,
his regular
seriously.
voice, and then he's got his
Nah,
podcast voice. He's got it
Dude,
all.
coming from you, Todd, somebody who actually is somebody in the business, that means the world to me.
I mean,
So,
make the whole show flow really nicely. I really admire what you do.
thank you, sir. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
he had a
it.
great segue last time with the other guy, the in and the out. You know what I mean?
Speaking of
Off the
segue,
cuff.
we'll be back with Fonzie in a minute.
Yes, perfect.
There you go. Boom.
Nice. All right, we're back here, and we're going to be joined by the man who calls it right down the middle, the legendary, the one and only Bill Alfonso. Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Jesus
I know that.
Christ!
I'm used. Don't hurt my ears. I'm used to
What's up,
that.
Daddy?
I've always hated that whistle, man. That was just a heat magnet, dude. I love it, man.
Grab the
Absolutely.
mic, Fonz.
Thank you, Daddy.
Daddy.
Welcome to the show, Bill Alfonso. How are
it's
you?
good to be here.
We're here with some old friends and old enemies in Tod Gordon.
The Malachi Crunch.
Yeah, he used to beat my ass the first couple of months I was in ECW.
Okay.
Well, you were quite the agitator, I
Dude,
think,
we've
to
been
start out.
rewatching, all the old shows on the podcast, and we've started to watch the genesis of the heel Fonzie commissioner character. And this is like the peak of ECW to me because the heat you were getting as this character, man, you were annoying, dude.
Did you just say the peak of ECW?
Well, some of
Dude,
the
it was
creative-
95.
Some of the
Yeah.
creative peak.
Yeah, that wasn't the peak.
I thought it was.
I thought 95 was the best year of ECW.
Me too.
Shows how much you
Thank
know.
you, Todd, for
I
backing
don't
me
know.
up.
I'd have to look back and see what I did in 95.
That's
won the
when
belt
I
a couple
came in.
times.
Company yet.
Well,
That's when I came in.
I wasn't overviewed
May
yet.
of
So
95.
Pax talked about
I
this,
was?
about you coming into the company in 95. And he said when you walked in the locker room that day, You had a Halliburton briefcase, and you were rocking a suit.
And a Rolex watch.
Three-piece suit.
Coming off of your run in New York as a
Pocket
ref,
watch.
and you're walking into the ECW locker room, Fonzie. Talk to me about what it was like for you, for the big leagues to then go to the bingo hall down in Swanson.
Well, I
and
just
Rittman.
came from WWF. My contract was up. I was negotiating a new contract with Vince, and Paul Heyman calls me. He says, "Hey, Fonzie, I got this company called ECW." I said, "What the fuck's an ECW?" Because remember, you just said I came from WCW, Ted Turner and Vince at WrestleMania, and Florida Championship Wrestling with Dusty
Show
Gordon
off.
solely. So I've been in the big companies. ECW, I've never worked an indie show in my life. I thought it was kind of an indie company. Paul Heyman said, "Hey, we're going to bring you in to be anti-ECW because Vince wants a doctor, his wife, and the 2 kids at ringside." ECW was 90% male from 19 to 32 years old. And blood, sweat, and tears, and tables and chairs and all that shit. So they wanted me to come in and be anti-ECW, stop the party, try to make ECW like WWE, WWF at the time. So Paul Heyman's deal was bring me in for 4 weeks. I get choke slammed by 911, and I was out of there. But like you just said, my character got heat, and Paul said, "Damn, you got heat. We're gonna keep you." So they ended up putting me with Taz. So my first night in, I just coming from WWF, so Vince wants you to dress nice, And if I come in with a pair of jeans and a T-shirt, I look like the fucking audience. You know what I mean? So I had to look like somebody. If they didn't know who I was, they said, "Well, he's somebody." He's sporting a fucking Submariner and a suit and Halliburton's and all that nice stuff. So when I walked into the dressing room, there's Sandman, Todd, Tommy Dreamer, Taz, all these fucking guys. I didn't know one of them. I said, "Who the fuck are these guys?" 27 years later, I'm sitting next to one of my best friends.
Right. No, that's amazing, man. Because ECW was kind of like the
and they didn't know who the fuck I was either.
Right.
Yeah. So he's doing something with me, and I'm with Nancy Sullivan at this point. He's doing something in my match, and I don't know him from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? And I turn around to Nancy, and I don't know the guy, and he's gonna have a specific, a significant part of what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "Nancy, you know this dude? Can he do this?" She's like, "Yeah, he's good." So I was like, "Okay." I trusted her.
But Fonzie, you had never worked as a character besides your referee work.
Correct.
Why did you and why did maybe Paul have confidence in you in delivering in that role?
I don't know. Maybe I was a natural and been around the business 25 years before I came to ECW. Now this is my 44th year in the wrestling business.
It was just his 76th birthday last week.
When he came in, we didn't think about him having that much of a talking role as a character. The character was just going to be there was a heel ref who was going to make sure nothing good happened. Like he would stop a match for throwing a punch or for blood or whatever the case may be. We didn't realize it was going to evolve into speaking the way he did and becoming a manager.
He was so good.
And so
You
on.
were brilliant in that role, Fonzie. And
serious heat.
The crescendo of that character is obviously you guys had the match at November to Remember '95, and then you go with Taz that night. But to me, and this is my all-time, I told you this at WrestleCon, I told you too, I don't know if you remember, I said it's my all-time favorite ECW member. It's the 2 out of 3 falls double dog collar tag team title match. When 911 finally gets his hands around your little neck and he chokeslams you, man, I think that building almost
How
collapsed.
long was it from the time you were in until the choke slam? You said it was a 4-week deal, but
I think it was 7-8
way
months.
longer, right?
Yeah, way longer.
Yeah,
because
we
the
were
character
milking
got
it.
over and Paul kept saying,
As
"Keep
smart
doing
as
what
that
you're doing."
audience was, his first night in, that audience bought it and waited outside the building, like 20, 30 people. They wanted to kill this guy after the show was over. And these were smart fans.
Right.
They knew that, and yet they still were completely blown away and worked, and they were going to kill him.
Well, just rewatching it myself, I wanted to kill him, and I know you personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that good, that believable.
It's brilliant work, man. I mean, I think it's as good as ECW has like a
Well, I was
character.
guided through the whole thing. Paul helped me out, Todd, all the guys in the office. Said,
You were the one in the ring doing it.
Yeah, I was.
He's not gonna say.
But it was kind of a natural for, I didn't know I had that in me because I've never done too many promos. How many promos does a referee do? Once in a while, Gordon would say, he threw him over the top rope, disqualification. I had small lines every once in a while. So I really didn't know how to do promos. And my first couple promos backstage, I couldn't spit them out. And Todd said, hey, just treat it like a shoot. You know you're going to be at the ECW Arena July 2nd. You know you're fighting Tommy Dreamer. You know this, you know that. Just shoot. So I said, okay, let me try it. Hey, Daddy, November 22nd, I'm coming to the ECW Arena. We're going to smoke Tommy Dreamer's ass. You know, it came natural. And then I got it, felt more confident, and then I started doing decent promos.
Oh, the spittle coming out of his mouth as you get more and more upset.
God.
I hate Tod Gordon.
And the outfit you wore too, with the bow tie and everything, was just perfect.
Kind of a spin-off of refereeing in WWF.
The
up in New
outfit
York.
had heat itself.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you know,
not-
if anything.
it was hateable right there from the get-go. But if I had to ask you for your career, like,
Thanks, Ash, for putting me over.
no, dude, come on, man, you're a legend, bro. Like, if I had to say for your career, where would you say was your peak for you as a performer? Was it that? Was it main eventing at
Was
WrestleMania?
it the Tokyo Egg Dome?
Was it Tokyo Egg Dome? Was it?
Well, it was pretty cool. 65,000 people, and I was refereed the main event, Ric Flair against Fujinami. That was pretty cool. WrestleMania 9. WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace was pretty fucking cool too. Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez. ECW Arena was pretty fucking cool. So it's hard to pinpoint
Anything with me,
one specific moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned him, and I gotta ask.
Okay.
El Gigante Giant Gonzalez.
Yes.
You were his handler in the
For
business
3 years, yeah.
For 3 years. Give us your favorite Giant Gonzalez story.
Oh, well, Giant Gonzalez and I got along from day one. It was like, you know the story where the mouse takes a splinter out of the tiger's
The lion.
paw,
Right,
yeah,
and
right.
they become best friends. So I did something for the Giant one time. I met him in Japan. But my first night in ECW was Tokyo at the Tokyo Dome. So Gonzalez was on a card, and I did something for him, and we became best friends. And then Dusty asked me to be his handler. It was pretty cool. So a normal thing for me to do, we were traveling around the world, around the country. I'd get a phone call. We never split a room. We always got rooms next to each other. We were at the Marriott. It'd be natural for me to get a phone call at 2 a.m. And Gonzalez would say, hey, Fonzie, I'm hungry. Would you go get me 12 hamburgers? So it was kind of my job to go get him 12 hamburgers at 3 a.m. And I, you know,
there was no Ubering back then. Or DoorDash.
we became best friends. We traveled together day to day, for weeks and weeks and months, and 3 years. So he calls me up. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And he says, Fonzie, come to my room. I said, okay. I said, well, he probably wants me to go to McDonald's and get him 12 hamburgers. So I knock on his door. He answers the door naked. And I said, Giant, what are you doing naked? And he opened the door more, and there's this fucking beautiful blonde girl, looked like Pamela Anderson, in bed naked. And he says, I got a problem. I said, well, what's the problem? You want food? I'll go get it for you. He says, no. He said, my dick's so fat, I can't get it into her pussy. Am I allowed to say this on
You
TV?
say whatever you want, Fonzie.
He said, my dick's real fat. But my dick's real fat. I can't get it inside her pussy. What we want you to do is I want you to fuck her for a few minutes, get her loose and wet, and then leave. And I was embarrassed, and the girl says, please, Fonzie, help us. So the girl was begging me to fuck her, and she was freaking beautiful. So my job that night for Giant Gonzalez was warming the girl up for him.
And then we all used them for the same thing as time went on.
Yeah, he was our fluffer.
Wow.
So that was
amazing.
one
What
story.
car would you drive? What car would you guys always get back then?
A Cadillac.
I
I mean, the only thing
Like
you
a
would,
town car?
whatever Amos
See, all
had
the way
there.
back? I mean, like,
Yeah,
what-
of course,
say,
yeah.
he's what,
He was
7 foot?
he was 7'7".
huge. Yeah,
They built him as
yeah.
8. He was the largest athlete on the planet at that time. Now, the kid that played basketball for Houston, Ming, what's his
Yao
name?
Ming.
Yao Ming,
Yao
yeah.
Ming. He was tall too, but he wasn't playing at that time.
Right.
So Giant Gonzalez was the tallest athlete on the planet. It was pretty
Great
cool.
picture. You, Hogan, and the Giant on the beach all posing together.
Yeah.
Why do you think he never got a run in New York? Because
Well,
besides
his
the work-
time was running out. You know, the Giants don't live long. He used to make me cry. He said, Fonzie, you know I'm going to die young. You know, I got the Giants disease, and it fucking used to kill me. But when I got him in 91, his knees were starting to bother him. He became diabetic, so he was limited in his time, and he was limited in the ring. He wasn't a natural
No.
in the ring
by
at
any
all.
means.
But his size got him over. The few things he did.
Is he
you
still
know,
alive now?
No,
No,
he's passed.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
and the guys that work with him, we all wanted him to succeed. So everybody who worked with him did their best to help him out during the matches, and they did. You know, Undertaker was real cool about WrestleMania 9, and we had not one of his greatest matches, but we had a good match. He was limited in his.
Right. Was that the one where he was wearing the suit to put the muscles on him?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that
the
was
ether.
Vince's deal. Yeah,
And the ether rat.
Giant Gonzalez. Yeah.
So, as your time in the business, in
Where's
ECW,
my water at, Daddy? That's right. Oh, I got it. Thank you. I'm
in
sorry.
ECW, you transitioned from working as the heel ref to then going to Taz, and then you have the big angle at Barely Legal '97 when you switch, and then you go with RVD and Sabu.
Which was a great move because.
Well, that's kind of why I asked it. Cause
Taz had 4 or 5 gimmicks. He was Tasmania, he was Monkey Boy, he was this and that. He never got over until it became Taz. I'm not saying that when they put us together, he got over because of me, but he became Taz, in ECW, and he was himself. He wasn't trying to be anybody but Taz. Yes, and so he finally got over, and he didn't really need me anymore because he could do a promo and this and that. So they put me with Sabu, who doesn't talk, and so on and so on. So it was great for me because I was in the main events. We did 23 pay-per-views, and I was on 22 of them. I didn't make the last one, all in the main events. And so what was the question?
We've done a couple main events together.
No,
I'm
I'm just talking about the transition from your character over the years, from where you were as the ref to then managing RVD and Sabu, and that work was awesome.
It was the right time. It was lucky to be in the right time in the right place and get a spot like that, and and then bring it out in me. My plans weren't to go in ECW and become a manager. My plan was coming in there for 4 weeks and get choke slammed by 911, and I was out. I wanted to go back to WWF making a couple $100,000 a year, not ECW working Friday and Saturday. And I did really good. I got paid well in ECW for what it was.
Well,
We weren't drawing 10,000 people, but we were selling out smaller buildings like the Coliseum in St. Peter, 4,000 people. Yes. Yeah, we were doing good business.
Hack check,
yeah.
Taking a hack check.
What made you want to stay in ECW? Like the transition from that was
Well, I
it
liked
your
what-
choice? Was it
Well, it was a mutual choice. I got invited to stay and become, the manager at Taz and Sabu.
I didn't know if you
Van
were like
Dam.
under contract with WWF. still
No,
at
no,
that
my
point, or-
contract just blew
Okay.
up and it was finished. And I was trying to negotiate when I got the phone call from Paul
Gotcha.
Heyman. I
Gotcha.
said, hey, we want you to come up. I said, damn, for 4 weeks, okay. And then it transitioned to something else, to managing and all that, which was good. And I made really good money. I made great money for working Friday and Saturday. Made
Right.
fucking great money.
And it didn't hurt you got in the Posse right away, so you got to kind of cement
Yeah.
your place right there. So
Yeah.
you know where we lost all the time.
He was
Speaking
lucky
of
I
which,
liked
I mean,
him.
I'm putting you on the spot, Todd. Is there a Fonzie story or anything that you have? One?
Oh,
that-
my
not-
God.
Well, I know a million, but
Where
one
do I-
that's like either in work or. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's
but-
not at all. I'll give you 2 real fast. One is Jim Thorpe, top of the mountain, high up. We'd always travel together, all of us, and Too Cold, of course. And we get about 2/3 of the way up. We go, yeah, Fonzie got to get out of the car and walk the rest of the way because we can't show up at the building together. And you go, come on, Daddy, please don't make him. We make him walk all the way up that
Hey,
fucking
fan.
hill. Yeah. And then I remember one time in Pittsburgh. It was a early morning flight we all had. We're not partying the whole night. the night before.
lizard.
I know.
He's having a flashback.
I know. And we couldn't find him. I was like, what the fuck happened to Fonzie? Come on, we want to get out of here. Wait, no one can find him. All of a sudden, the bags start coming down. There's Fonzie on the conveyor belt, sound asleep, as the bags are hitting him in the head coming down the chute one. Dude, really like,
Been there.
Somebody claim me. He kept yelling. Somebody claim me.
No, that was absolutely Fonzie. I got to ask you about 2 matches you had in ECW. Number one, the match you had with Tod Gordon at November to Remember 95.
2 non-wrestlers.
2 non-wrestlers.
Yeah,
going
Todd had to
at it.
carry him on that one.
I think. Listen, if you guys haven't had the
I
chance,
heard it differently.
go back and watch that match because it's entertaining as hell for 2 non-wrestlers. You guys are throwing some potatoes at each other.
oh my God, yeah. Now it works. We had to do that.
Oh God! Last night we had here because we were all together last night at Todd's house, and Fonzie complained so many times about Todd would hit him with his knuckle.
Yeah, Todd would get excited in the ring because he's not a wrestler. He doesn't know how to work and stuff. He was great at what he did as a
Never
man,
did an
as a
athletic
company
thing in
guy
his
and all
life.
that.
I
But-
disagree.
so when they put him together with me, two non-wrestlers. I don't know how to do sunset flips and backslides and small packages. I can go out there and have a little brawl. And
He
that's
knows
what
the
we
name
did.
of more stuff than I do.
And Todd would get it pretty excited out there, and it hit me pretty fucking hard. So he hit me. I said, Todd, loosen up. He's this far a foot away from me, and I'm talking to Todd. Hey, loosen up. And he couldn't hear me because he was so excited about the match, and he used to beat my ass. So that's why it kind of looked decent and good.
We were
It
determined.
was legit.
It was legit.
We were determined not to do one of those things like Paulie and Cornette when they had their tuxedo match and it just looked like shit.
Right.
We were putting together a hardcore product and we're having the guys go out there to kill themselves. Least we could do is show them we're going to give them the same kind of effort out there.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. If we got lumped up, we got lumped up.
No,
But
you certainly did. And then Fonzie, the other.
Todd's hardcore. Todd's hardcore.
He is. The other match, Fonzie, was the match that you had with Beulah.
I beat her ass.
Oh my God! Listen, that match is an absolute I don't even know what to say about that match, man, because that was wild.
If you ask Paul Heyman to name one of his favorite matches he's ever seen, he was going to say the Beulah Fonzie match because two non-wrestlers
Yes.
and what we did.
And
know.
you bled buckets.
He lost
Intergender,
more
like,
blood
yeah.
that night than when New Jack ripped that kid's the
I think you
man's
did.
head
Yeah, I had to
open.
get rushed to the hospital, and I almost
How
died.
much blood did you lose?
They said a third.
A third. When you go
Yeah,
back
I
and
was-
watch this match,
And you're about 110 pounds like soaking wet.
Yeah.
So a third's like.
Yeah, I was on
It was
thin
like,
ice.
I don't know,
Yeah,
like
got,
it's just
eight-
incredible.
they couldn't stop the
points.
bleeding. I hit like an artery. If you look at the scar right here.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
hit
can
a
see
fucking
it.
veins.
To the camera, not them idiots.
Well, at any point, like during the match, was anybody saying anything to you, like
No.
go home or like
No,
not? Like
no.
it was just.
I wasn't gonna go home until we were ready to go home.
Right.
I didn't know I was bleeding that much, but
Right.
but it was good. If I didn't bleed that much, we would not be talking about it right now.
Yes.
Yeah, very true.
Now, is there any truth to the rumor that you did that blade job? Because
Absolutely not. Somebody thought in the ECW office that I was a go-between, that WCW was calling me to get Sandman. And that's not calling me to get whoever.
Raven,
And
yeah,
Raven
all the
and
guys.
Sabu and all these guys. Why the fuck would they call me? They just call Sandman.
Right.
So that was, I don't know
And
how
you
that.
also got similar heat for that as well.
Yeah.
The mole,
they
the mole
thought
talk
they
and
thought we
everything.
were fucking being the go-between the guys and stealing the guys. That was untrue. I said, why would I do that? They just call Sandman. Don't call me.
Right.
You
But was
know?
that the office perception at the time?
I think so. So I heard that Paul Heyman was going to fire me because of that, and I didn't know that until later. So, and when I got the big juice, I guess Paul Heyman and Todd felt bad, and they said, "Well, they had such a good match. They almost bled out. Let's keep them."
Yeah,
And then
he
they
almost
found
died.
out.
Keep 'em,
They,
like-
they found out that I wasn't the go-between.
I was with you through the whole thing. What are you talking
Right.
about? I was just thinking like on the side of the office, like saying that you thought you were doing anything like that. It's crazy.
No, it was Paul.
Yeah.
Well, we're finding out some Paul truths today, but absolute legend of the business.
Paul check.
Paul check. That's right. We'd be
Yeah,
here
there
all
we
day.
go.
We'd be here all day with that one. But no, Fonzie, pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you,
and,
Daddy.
we love you coming down here to the store today. It's been an absolute
Yeah,
blast.
congratulations everybody on the podcast. You guys
This
are doing
store
a great
rocks,
job,
too.
and I
Oh,
watch
this
every
store's
one
incredible,
of them.
man.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I watch
store.
every one of them.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're gonna bring in Scorp next and talk a little bit more ECW.
All right, we are back here at the Sandman Podcast, and we are joined by the legendary, one and only, and absolute. When I say this, I don't mince words, and I'm serious about it. An absolute legend of the business, Cold Scorpio.
In the house.
Scorpio,
Hey, Squirt Daddy.
what's
Woody
up?
woo. What up, what up?
What's
in
going?
the house.
What's going on, Scorp?
Hey, just another day in the jungle, survival of the fittest.
Yeah, that's right, brother. I gotta ask you, man. So, the start of your career. Did you start off in New Japan in the dojo, or did you start off prior to that in the '80s?
I started off prior to that in the 80s, man, on indie scenes, Mile High Pro Wrestling. Taught myself, got spotted by Vader, was riding on his coattail everywhere I went.
So that relationship you made with Vader and Leon in the 80s, late 80s, and then into the early 90s, that's what got you in the door in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Hey, I can't tell no lie. You know, there's always somebody out there that's willing to help somebody out there in the business. Yes, Vader was the one who spotted me and said I would be a good idea to go to Japan. And from there, everywhere I went that had a name on it, was because of Vader.
Wow, absolute legend of the business, Big Van
Except for
Vader.
ECW.
Except for ECW. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I got.
So how long were you doing indies?
Talk to the mic, bro. What is?
Sorry. So how long were you doing indies before you ended up in a dojo in Japan?
Maybe 2.5 years tops.
And were you working every other weekend, once a month?
When you're working on the indies, just breaking in, you ain't working every month. It was hit and miss. Sometimes you would get a nice long tour. You might get 4 or 5 days out. Back then, we was doing a lot of the Army bases and stuff like that. So, getting onto the Army bases, Vicksburg, and doing armories and stuff like that. It was quite often. But those tours was far few and in between.
Okay, so you end up going to the dojo in New Japan. Walk the audience through what that was like, because that level of training versus what you would see in one of the schools in the States got to be completely different.
It was like Vader coming to me and presenting, hey, New Japan is offering you a chance and an opportunity to go over to Japan, train over there, be trained by them, but they're willing to pay you to go over there and train. I said, what? Willing to pay you to go over to Japan and train. Now, ain't nowhere else in the world can you go to a wrestling school and they actually pay you to go there and train. 9 times out of 10, you got to pay to go to anybody else's wrestling school. The intensity that they have over there as far as the training is a training that anybody and everybody in the wrestling business, if you ain't been into the dungeon, then that's about the next best thing that you can do.
So just
What do you mean, the dungeon in Canada?
So
Okay.
we're talking just
Wow.
extensive calisthenics and training and mat skills and all that. What point did you develop some of the high fly moves that you are known for? Like, when did you see that you could do a 450? Like, what was that? When did you know that?
I knew I could do a 450, bro, when I was 14, man. I've been doing 450 backflips, one half. I've been jumping on the trampoline forever and a day, growing up in the projects, going over to the rec center, and all you got to do is basketball, football, or jump on the trampoline, bro. So, for me, turning flips, it was natural.
Yeah, well, you certainly weren't natural in the ring, man, because, like, in that time period of the high flying style that started, you could do that all without missing a beat. And it didn't matter where the guy was positioned in the ring. I seen you hit spots on everybody, and it was always crisp. Like, to me, like, you don't get the respect you deserve in the business and the history, because a lot of people don't know the history. And when I see you out there, man, having worked everywhere across the world, you're an absolute legend, bro. Man, like, seriously.
Appreciate it.
So in your career, you then went to WCW at a point, and you're in WCW in the early 90s. Walk us through what it's like for you to be in that locker room at that point in time.
Riding on somebody else's coattail. Vader made the call. Dusty Rhodes was in charge at that time. They was trying to get in contact with me. I was in between Japan and Mexico. I got the call when I was just getting back from Mexico at that time. So, once I got the call, I flew straight from Denver down to Atlanta, had a meeting, had a tryout. Next thing you know, I was moving to Atlanta.
You were moving to Atlanta, and they certainly started to push you and feature you. What was it like for you as a black performer to get an opportunity to shine in a Southern wrestling
black?
company like that? I know, it's hard to believe, Todd.
Don't tell nobody.
No. What was that like for you?
Well, to be honest with you, man, it was quite shocking and quite surprised to have Bill Watts come up to you and tell you that he was a president motherfucker and he had no problem about calling you a nigga to your face at any given point in time. He says, but one thing about him and one thing he knew is he knew about money. He said, you could ask Junkyard Dog or you could ask anybody. I know how to make money and I see money in you. That's why he was pushing me like he was pushing me.
So even though he was a racist,
Like, who were you working
It
with?
was all about the business and what he could make.
Like, who were you
all the
working with
opportunity.
there like that at that time?
At that given point in time, man, I was doing a lot with Buddy Lee Parker, which was a hell of a hand down there at that time, who make anybody look good if you can work. I was working with, Ravishing Rig Rude, Steve Austin. I was working with, a lot of the names, Paul Orndorff, Ricky Steamboat, you know what I mean, Brian Pillman, anybody that was on the card, Barry Woodham. If you was on the card and you was up there, it didn't matter, Booker T, Slash Tex.
No,
you know what I mean?
pretty
So some of
strong
the best.
roster.
The roster was phenomenal at
Just
that
the
given
booking
point
was
in
better.
time and shit, man, and we was rocking the house. It didn't matter who we got in the ring with.
I love that you mentioned Barry Windham, because you guys had a match at the one Clash of the Champions. that was just absolutely incredible. And when you think about it on paper, you think Barry Windham at his size and you with your style, you think it might not work. But I'm telling you out there in the audience, if you've never had the opportunity to watch this match, and I forget which Clash of the Champions it was on at the moment, but you guys tore the house down, man. What was it like being in the ring with Barry Windham?
What I gotta say is, what a lot of people don't understand, man, that match took place after a 14, 15-hour ride straight from Japan, straight down to Asheville or wherever it was at, wherever the pay-per-view was at. So anytime you're taking an international flight, getting
So
off
what
of
you
a
do,
14,
Narita to Detroit to there?
when we landed at the airport, jumped in a cab and shit. They had a black car waiting for me. I jumped in a black car and took it straight to the arena. Got to the arena with all my bags from overseas. You know, got there, seen Barry, looked at the car, seen who I was working with. We never had a chance, or had an opportunity, but we never had a chance, an opportunity to talk about what we actually wanted to do.
And
So
yet,
wrong it.
Call it in the ring, kid, old school. Let me see what you can really do.
Yeah, man.
and you guys put on an absolute classic. Like, go back and watch that match because I'm telling
Barry
you.
Windham taught me something. He led the way. Like I said, you know, back in the old day, man, when the heels used to lead and the babyface could listen, the babyface would get over like $1,000,000.
Love that, man. That's all.
Win, lose, or draw.
That's so cool, man. And then in your career, then you transitioned over to ECW, which is when you're working New Japan, you're working Mexico, you're working WCW. The first time you walk into Eastern Championship Wrestling, what did you think when you walked in there?
What the fuck is this?
Did you see him smoking a cigarette, drinking a six-pack over in the corner? Or
Man,
what?
I know he had a case of beer, he had a cigarette in his hand, and everybody and their mama respected the Sandman and knew who the Sandman was when I walked in that locker room. No doubt.
Oh, so you're coming off this big run in WCW, and you are a worldwide star, and now you're working in front of a couple hundred people in a dirty old bingo hall in Philadelphia. Like, what was
His first night in was for the tournament.
So that's what I wanted to get to is you're in the main event, right? And then
In this tournament?
yeah,
Yeah, the
the
NWA.
world title tournament when Shane throws down the belt.
Who else
You-
was in there?
You were in the finals with Shane, and Shane throws down the belt. What did you know beforehand about that? Were you smartened up at all about what was going to take place?
All I knew is I had a match. I had no idea. You know, you got to remember, back in the day, we really truly believed in kayfabe. If everybody and their mama knew what was going on, you know, you got to remember back then it was the Nelson, it was the scoop sheets. Everybody wanted to know the dirt, what was happening before it happened. That was the only ways the news got out. It wasn't no social media and everybody telling the story before the story's been told. You know, so, you know, it was a handful of people who knew about it, and nobody knew exactly what's going to happen until it happened. I was out there told to go out there and have a hell of a match. As far as I know, I thought I was going to win that motherfucker.
Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. I love that. That's awesome. But when Shane when he throws down that NWA heavyweight title and cuts the promo afterwards, were you like, oh shit, I might get some heat transferred to me from this?
It was a straight shoot. If you don't want that damn belt, I'll take it out of the trash can and I was wear it. That's exactly what I said. I meant that shit. If you don't want that gold, I'll take the gold. Damn, trash or no trash, shit. It was all good.
So Todd, I got to ask you, at the time when you guys are doing this, like the belt throwing down angle and everything, how much of a role would you say that played for ECW in terms of taking off?
Oh, did exactly what it's supposed to do. It changed us to a national company.
Dennis Carluzza.
And then took our belt and we made it into a national belt. It's no longer a regional belt.
Right.
Eastern was regional, and Extreme was world title.
So that was the moment that stamped.
Absolutely, we were ready. You know, just about how we're going to do it and how to get there, and that's how we got there.
Okay. Hack, you told me a great story before.
I know, I have thousands.
Well, no, okay. Well, one of the many. But you told me a great story one time before about the first time you were getting in the ring with Scorpio. And you said, what did you say to
I
him?
was like, yeah, dude, you know we laid in around here. Yeah, I don't know what the badass, because like you said, we don't have computers in our body. I don't know his credentials right there. You know what I mean?
Japan. That's all you had to hear.
What?
And then he backed me into a corner, hit me with an uppercut. I got over and he just said, please don't ever do that again. I submit.
What? When this guy right there looks like he does, and he says, we laid in around here, what was going through your mind?
You don't care. He's a
I
bitch.
was like, you know, this is Japan, so I'm thinking, okay, good, it's going to be hardcore. But when he broke out that damn cane and whacked me across my damn back, I was like, yeah, this is a different breed of kind of wrestling down here and shit. And then the next thing you know, it was like, we don't put hands up to block chairs. You just kind of take it. What? Yeah, you don't put your hands up. You just take it. Huh? Yeah, smack. How you like me now? Okay, welcome to the business, kid. So, yeah, it was a fight for your life every time you got in that damn ring. But what made it so exciting is when I came down to ECW, I was so used to looking at a damn teleprompter, trying to do a damn promo, not having a damn clue. I had to go down to damn ECW to learn how to do a damn promo. That's a damn shame. All the major leagues and companies I've been to, but can't learn to do a promo until you go to ECW. You gotta love the business, kid. Gotta love it.
2 Gold.
Where'd that name come from?
Well, I mean, look, the run that you guys had as a tag team.
I am God. I carried him.
But, like, that's something to me, again, like, you would think maybe it wouldn't work on paper. Hack and Too Cold. But yet it was perfect combination. And ECW was so good, and Paul and whoever had put these combinations together, because that was money, man. You guys together was money.
Can I just say one of the reasons for that is also the friendship?
Yes.
Like, they were able to play off each other in the ring with the dance off, whatever, because the 4 of us have been best friends, and we still are for 30 years. Or 28 years, whatever it's been.
More than that. Yes, sir.
I mean, we still are. We all travel together. This was the 4 of us everywhere we went. And we're still like that. We still talk every day or every week. Always. All 4 of us. It's amazing. And so that's why they had a natural chemistry, because they had one in real life.
So, but us having all the straps and Nancy was pretty cool.
Yeah. What was it like for you, some of those memories of that time period, Scorp?
To be invited into the family, the Posse. You're talking about one of the, people talk about cliques, this, cliques that. There was no such thing as a clique. It was either you was in this family or you was in the Paul Heyman family. Or you hung out with the Pitbull, or the Shane Douglas family. Or then you had the New Jacks and the Johnny Grunge, who they party who the fuck wanted to party with them. They didn't give 2 damns. Rest in peace. They was just cool as fuck. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now you start talking about Teddy. Teddy was just cool. You got a lot of guys who didn't drink. You know what I'm saying? So, when you're invited into a posse and they take you in like family from day one, and treat you like family from day one, you got nothing but love for those guys. So when you have an opportunity to travel the world, wrestle women, then you got somebody like Tod that has a mastermind behind putting shows and things together and ideas. He came up with the name Cold Scorpio. I had no idea. When he made me a heel, that probably was one of the biggest and best moves I could have done. But at the same time, trying to do it as a baby face, I had to have him constantly tell me, stop clapping damn hands, stop dancing. I couldn't stop doing it, so he had to come up with something else. That's why you only got to see the 450. That's why you only got to see the 450 half the damn time, thanks to Tod.
Okay. So if I had to ask you, Scorp, what would you say out of all the matches you had in ECW, the match that stands out to you as your favorite out of the time that you had in ECW? What do you think was the best performance that you put on?
There's been too many great matches in ECW to say this one, that one, or that one. Matches that stand out, I would say last minute. Going in, have to tag up with New Jack. And a cage match, having no idea, never worked with him because his partner just happened to have a tendency to flip out and had to go AWOL on a very important night on a big pay-per-view. So, sometimes, they say that card is always subject to change. Turning out that match ended up being a hell of a match. Me and Sandman going up against the Gangsters, getting stabbed in the nose by New Jack with a fork. Now, we all know New Jack is crazy, but yet we're supposed to be friends. But that's just part of the business and how good of some of the matches had. That's not including the wrestlers. Now, we start talking about the wrestlers in the company that we had, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, the Guerrero. You can pick any one of those matches that I was in there with any one of those guys on our bad day, and it was a good match.
You and Jericho had a great match.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was just, let's go out here and do a little Japanese type stuff. That was, let's go out here and blow the roof off of it, like the crowd and the way that Paul Lee could pump you up to go out there and be able to do.
No, that's awesome, man. Back to some of your Japan stuff. So you transition. Well, actually, I'm going to go to your WWF stuff first here. You go to WWF in 96,
Flash Funk?
97, and you are, I think, hindered with the gimmick of Flash Funk. What are your thoughts of the Flash Funk gimmick?
The Flash Funk gimmick is all about Vince.
Yes.
My thing was, this is a challenge.
Okay.
I sat there and told Vince, he simply said, do you like the character? Can you get the character over? I said, I can get the character over in 4 months. He looked at me and laughed in my face and said, can nobody get a character over without me pushing them? I says, I don't care what character you put me in, I know how to bring out 2 Cold Scorpio.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take this as a challenge to see how far I can go before you actually start pushing me. It didn't take long before he started pushing me. You see that?
Yeah,
but it didn't last long either.
As a 2 Cold Scorpio
Paid
fan,
great though.
yeah, like I mean, I'm sure you had a nice run financially there, but like,
Well, you know, it always could be better. You never think you're getting a financial run as some of the guys that's on top that can do half the shit that you can do. You know, because they probably got a better stick than you at that given point in time. Having a stick and a look at that given point in time was very important going up to the WWE, WWF at that given point in time.
yeah, I wish that in a way, like, to see you in today's wrestling, because you would absolutely thrive. Like, you would be at the top of the card.
Too old for that shit now.
No, I know, but I'm saying, bro, like, if you had the opportunity to be in an AEW going up in the main event,
I don't know if he can hang with Andrade.
Oh,
my
yes,
boy.
he could hang with Andrade. He could hang with Swerve. He
I
could
would
hang
have
with
to go to
Ospreay.
the gym. I would have to get in shape, train like I'm trying to go to Japan and do something like that, man, and be able to keep up the young bucks.
No, you
nowadays.
wouldn't. You just slow the match down. Be like,
You
kid,
know
I gotta
would.
breathe. Hold on.
Grab a hold and hold on. They don't know nothing about that yet.
Nah, man, I like your work everywhere.
I
you
agree
went.
totally.
Yeah, no, like if you were to have the opportunity to be in today's business, like seriously, you and Swerve Strickland is a main event anywhere. Like you would tear the house.
Great
down.
tag.
Oh, you'd be a great like you would tear the house down. Man.
I could believe I could tag with one of these young kids out there that can go out there and make me look good. You know, I'm at that point now where I need that young buck, you know, in case I get knocked down, you know, I'm going to need him to get the guy off me so I can get back to my feet. Once I get back to my feet, I'll be all right. But, you know,
How
once I
many
get
other
knocked
times you
down-
seen a 450?
Man,
don't
everybody,
see them
everybody,
often,
and
do
their
you?
mama, everybody and their mama is doing them for a high spot nowadays. Shit used to be a finish.
Wow.
Amen.
Amen. No, listen, man.
Nothing's a finish now. You need 7 of them.
So what memories
But I
you
could
got?
beat you with a roll up.
Oh, I bet you could. We got what memories you guys got of hanging out together
Dude,
at
a
the
lot
arena?
of just people have to understand we didn't have computers in our pockets. We could drive for 3 hours in the car and we wouldn't even put the radio would never even be turned on.
That was Hack's rule. No radio. We're talking.
You're talking about
dude.
enthused
And I had a TV in the vans too. No TV, no radio, no nothing.
I
dude.
was
We talked.
impressed. My biggest thing was riding in the car and being impressed on how smart that Sandman and Tod was when it came to different sports and, you know, knowing every player. I mean, you just want to talk about the news, the stock. It didn't matter what came up in that car. There was always a great conversation that somebody could always follow. People think, you know, a lot of times you ride them down the road, it's all about wrestling stories. The wrestling stories that we told, they didn't happen until we got back to the room. And it was either the dog and pony show, and now it's time to put on the show. You know what I mean? Other than that, man, it was real talk, getting to know real people, real life shit.
Nah, that's awesome, man. So glad to have you on here, Todd. I don't know if you have any memories of Scorpio that you
Like
want
I said, first of all, Scorp can work with anybody.
Yes.
He can work any style. He can work, hardcore. He can work brawl. He can work high fly. There's nothing he can't do in the ring.
Strong style.
He's about as talented.
Comedy nowadays work too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
about as
talk to your bona
he's
fides,
as
man.
talented as anybody I've ever seen in the ring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't disagree with that at all, man. And like I said, Scorpio, if you had to say where you had like your career, do you consider yourself like a New Japan guy, WCW guy, an ECW guy, a Noah guy? Like, where do you say was your best work and your biggest work?
My best work, you know, I would have to say it started when I first went to ECW. When I first went to ECW, I really had a chance and an opportunity to be able to open up and be me. Learn how to be me and learn how to shoot more. Shoot more on your conversations, on your interviews. You know, shoot in the ring. You know, keep it real. Japan was that ultimate training that you got to be able to fit any style around the world. Noah, I would call my home any day, any place out of the world. Being how I was trained over with New Japan, I still would call Noah my home anywhere around the world if I had a chance or an opportunity. When it's time for that retirement match, that would be the company that I would choose to do it for against Marufuji if that was going to happen.
Legendary Marufuji.
Right, all Japan and like Mexico style. Did you actually have to like speed yourself up a little bit when doing Mexican compared to like the big companies
What I
in
did when I
Japan?
went to Mexico that helped me get over was is usually everybody 9 times out of 10 when they go down there, they want to stay with the Mexican style. I stayed with the Japanese style and stayed with my own style, which made me stand out more because I wasn't necessarily doing the Mexican style. I had to learn how to base more so for the Mexican style moves and stuff like that. Learn how to do it, take a rolling bump instead of a snap bump. You can't bump in Mexico like you bump in Japan or in the States.
You're up quick.
You're gonna break your damn back. You're gonna break something. We're talking about hard ass boxing ring, no give. So you learn to bump a different style, a different way when you work in Mexico. You know, Mexico was one of them places that if you don't work, you don't get paid, you don't eat. So you have to know how to be able to tape yourself up if you get hurt and still be able to go out and work. That was the advantage of me working with New Japan and with Noah, with some of the doctors, you know,
got trainers and shit like that.
That train you, that taught you how to tape your own wrists, have taught your own ankles. If you get them taped up enough night after night, you learn how to tape yourself. And that was one of the biggest things that Nicholson said before he passed away. Black Cat was said, you need to learn how to tape yourself in case you get injured and you work in Mexico. You ain't going to make no money if you don't work. So, you know, it's all about the heart and having it in the business, being able to still go even when you're hurt.
Okay, so Scorp, you have been in the ring with a who's who of people. Everybody from the Sandman to Masawa.
To Mil Mascaras.
To Mil Mascaras.
I can outwork Masawa, piece of cake. No,
Yeah,
Masawa's on
about
with the green
50
pants, right?
elbows in a senton. Yeah.
See the green, the guy with the green pants?
Yes, he is.
That guy is freaking awesome.
Yes, he is. He's an absolute legend. So I got to ask you, Scorp, who is the best guy you have ever been in the ring with? I know how difficult a question this is, but who would you say it is? Because I know you've been in there with a litany of Hall of Famers.
You know, if I was to go with names that was legendary that I probably grew up watching that, you know, that I would love to take after, I would have to say Kobayashi, Mizawa. At that given point in time, you know, Hashimoto, you know, Kisuke Sasaki, those were my teachers when I was over in Japan. So a lot of those Japanese stars are some of the guys that I look up to when I first started.
Who was your
Ricky
favorite
Choshu,
when you were doing
you know, Fujinami. Or I would have grown up, Superfly Snuka.
Oh, I can see that influence. I can see that
Nice.
influence, obviously.
That's awesome.
No, that's really super cool. I don't. You guys got any other questions?
Did you work Snuka at ECW at all?
No, we had an opportunity to work as a tag team together when we both did that Survivor Series over in WWF or WWE at that given point in time.
That's when you came
never
in for your
really
debut.
had a
Who else
singles
was on
match
your
with him.
team and the other team? Who were you in the ring with for that match?
Yokozuna, I believe, was in that match. Vader was in that match as well.
Was it fake?
Big-
Fake Diesel? Was Fake Diesel Fake Razor?
I don't think Fake Diesel was in at that time. I think it might have been Cactus Jack or Dude Love at that time. I'm not really sure. I would have to go back and look at that to make sure and shit.
Okay.
Who was on your team?
Me, Yoko, and if you know, holler at me and let me know.
We'll have to check
Happens
cage
when
match
you
on that
smoke-
one.
That's
for
what
that.
happens when you
We'll have a
smoke
half
pounds
Scorp
and pounds
check.
of
Scorp
weed.
check. Scorp check. No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, man.
How many matches you think you've had, Scorp?
We're in the thousands here, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say over 5,000 easily.
Yeah.
You know, you got to figure back in the day, you know, when you was on tour over in Japan, those tours used to be like 4-week tours, 3-week tours. So you would do at least, you know, 4 or 5 days you was working out of the week. You know, you would have a couple of travel days. They never be weeks where you would only work maybe 3 or 4 days out of the week, and other days was travel days. You would have a few days off. You know, that's not including the schedule once you get into WWE, WCW, night after night, pay-per-view. You know what I mean? House shows, you know, stuff like that.
How about like the Japan, like the
into
big companies in Japan? You're doing like 20 days a month, right?
Easy. At that point in time, you know, when Noah had first started, you know, Vader, me and Richie, we was the only Americans that was going over. So for the first 2 years, we was pretty much on every tour. You know, at that given point in time, you know, we had, you know, new company just started out. Tours were short, you know, 1 week, 2 weeks, then it built up to 3 weeks. Then, you know, as we started getting more people, they started being more dates closer to closer. And so you might do one tour and have 1 week off and then another tour start. You know what I mean? So, you know, during that given point in time, you're getting a lot of ring time in with a lot of different talent because you worked with anybody from the juniors up to the heavyweights. So, you know, you might be in like, you know, New Japan. I would be in there with Jushin Thunder Liger. You know, I would be in there with Hashimoto. then I would be in there Ricky Choshu, Fujinami, somebody like that,
Wow.
or you'd be in there with El Samurai, or somebody like that, Next thing you know, you're doing a Mexican style, Japanese style, American style. So, that diversity to be able to change up really helps to make a difference when you're working around the world for a lot of different companies.
Now that's so cool because, like, for those of you who don't know out there and don't know your Japanese wrestling, Scorpio has literally just named a litany of Hall of Famers that he shared the ring with, because every single one of them is a god in Japan. And take me back to the formation of Noah when that started. So Baba passes, and then Masawa decides to start the company.
Basically, what happens is Johnny Ace is over there running the company. He's booking Americans over. I'm promised you
For
know
Noah?
he's
all
for
Japan.
all
Okay.
Japan at this given point in time. Taya K is still over there. He's like the son to Mr. Bubba and Giant Bubba, even though they never had a kid. They're basically like their kids. So Kea was one of my top guys. So you had Kawada, and you had Johnny Ace, you had us, you had Bart Gunn, you had all of us people at this given point in time that was still over there working. So had got wind through word, Vader had got wind that, hey, Mizawa's going to be starting his own company and stuff. They're going to be breaking off. He's taking pretty much everybody's going with him. Kawada is staying. They named off a handful of people that was staying, but they was dedicated to Mr. Bubba. So, in that aspect, you got to give respect.
And that means
Japanese-
something there in Japan.
that
That
Japanese
means
culture,
something.
that
Job
means
for
like
life.
serious
You have a
something.
job. You have a job for life over
You know,
there.
Thing about it was Mrs. Bubba and then Johnny Ace and them had pre-booked a lot of us guys on their prior show. We had a sold-out show. We ended up getting tips, at bonuses that night. So they already had a poster up for the next tour. I was already up on the New Japan poster. A few of other guys, Vader. Some of us guys was already posted for the next tour. So Vader had said, "Hey man, this is what the plan is. I've been talking to Mizawa, and at that time it was Rue that was his right hand man that was running things. So they was talking about the split with the company. Said who all was going, Kobayashi, named the whole everybody, and so Vader had a package deal. Basically, is if I come over, you bring Scorpio over with you too. So Richard Slinger, being how he trained over with New Japan and Mizawa, they was all in the dojo together around the same time. He automatically was going to come over and make the jump. So Vader had made the deal. I went on tour. I came back home. I went to Australia, did a trip down in Australia, 26 hours, came back home. As soon as I get home, I get a phone call from Vader. Said, "Hey, man, what you doing? I'm over in Hawaii." I said, "What?" I said, "I just got back from
Could have
Australia."
hit that on the way back.
I just got back from Australia. He said, "What I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to book a first-class ticket to Honolulu, Hawaii." I said, "We're having a meeting over here the next day or two with Mizawa. They're all over here. We're going to meet in Hawaii. Got a big deal. We want to talk about contract, and switching over to Noah." And so Vader goes and says, "All right, man, I'm going to call you back." He goes, I call him up. He calls me right back. He goes, "Was you able to book your ticket?" I was like, "Man, I can't book a first-class ticket." He goes, "Call my wife." So I called wifey up. I said, "Debbie, Vader told me to call you stuff. I need a first-class ticket to Honolulu, Hawaii, leaving tomorrow morning, first flight out." So she calls me back, boom, 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 10, 15 minutes later. Vader's wife called me back, Miss Debbie. She calls me back, Miss White. She calls me back. I answer the phone. "All right, Scorpio, da-da-da. Here's your flight. Here's your plan. I'm going to need you to be at the airport. Your flight's going from, I was living in Daytona at that time. So you're going from Daytona Beach. I had to fly to like Orlando. Then I had to go from Orlando to San Francisco. This is the first time I've ever took a real flight. I ain't never flown, ain't got a clue, ain't got where to go. He's already forewarned me. When you get into San Francisco, you got about a mile walk to the international side. So I'm just going to give you the heads up. So when you get in early, don't think you got time to linger around. Get to going. He goes, "You got about a 4-hour flight, 5-hour flight going into San Francisco." He says, "That's when, if you want to have a drink, if you want to get fucked up," he goes, "that's when I want you to go ahead and get fucked up."
He's
When
got a
that-
6-hour flight.
that
go
first
by.
4 hours. He said, so that way, he says, on that next flight, it's about 5 hours from San Francisco to Honolulu. He goes, "I'm going to need you to sober up when you get into Honolulu. I'm going to need you to have a change of clothes. I'm going to need you to freshen up before you get off the airplane. Be ready to talk business." So he gave me a rundown of spill. He said, "They're going to say this, you're going to say that. They're going to offer you this, you're going to say, 'Nice, but I want this.' And then they're going to say, 'Yeah, that's a little much,' and they're going to offer you this." So he gave me the whole rundown of spill. Me, myself, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, right. I wouldn't be for damn word for word pretty much everything that he told me, said that I was going to do if it did not happen. And that's the only reason why I was up on game and knew what to do and how to be able to handle it. Flew over in Hawaii, room paid for, gave me expenses money, signed the contract. First time making a switch, 45 out the box for 1 week of work. every week. You know
So
what I
that was
mean?
that same hotel right on the ocean, right there, freaking.
Right off Honolulu, the main
Yeah,
island.
where Vince would stay.
Yes.
WCW would stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So we stayed there and shit, man. We meet with them the next day. They pay for a hell of a fight dinner. We have dinners. We have drinks. First thing they say when they show up is like, "Wow, good to see you. Nice to meet you. Surprised you didn't show up drunk." Because everybody that takes that trip get off the airplane, they showed up drunk. I was dressed. I was talking business. So so that already made me look good for somebody putting their name on the line for you, and then be able to fulfill what they ask you to do. You know what I mean? So I think
Hey, my
that
Vader was a monster.
Yeah,
that
Like,
made
he
and
was
that
a
made a
straight
difference, and that
monster.
really made a difference. With dealing with Japanese and being really honest and straightforward with them on what you want.
That's
Great
so.
story.
That is an amazing story, and that is so cool that he put you on game like that for a very important meeting like that. And just listen, guys, if you're out there, man, learn your wrestling history because there is so much out there in this
Once
world.
you learn it, let me know.
I'm still learning.
I don't know shit.
Oh, dude, this has been absolutely fantastic today. I've been so happy to do this here with Suplex and everything, and have you guys. You guys have been friends for 30 years, and just to sit around and talk stories with you guys, and it's been a real amazing opportunity. So I just want to say thank you, Fonzie, thank you, Todd, and thank you, Scorp, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. We need to thank the people here, man, that let us do this thing. We getting ready to pop downstairs, sign some shit. If you in town, you need to show up.
Hell yeah.
Suplex Wrestling Comic Store. We about to do our thing. I ain't gonna be here long. Trying to get him in, trying to get him out. Holla!
You guys got anything you want to add, Todd? Todd,
No,
Fonzie?
this was great, man. I love this place. The store's awesome. The podcast you guys are doing is awesome, and these three guys here are awesome. So that's all I
Nah,
gotta
they're
say.
absolute legends. Fonzie, thank you
We
for
may
joining the
be
show.
awesome, but Todd is God.
Todd is God. Pick up a copy. Seriously,
nice,
the
Scorp.
real, true event of what happened in ECW. Fonzie, thank you for joining the show today.
It was very cool to be here. And you said 30 years ago we were all friends riding together. And last night we were having dinner at Todd's house. He hosted us four, and it was fantastic. It's like we never missed a beat,
27 years and never missed a beat.
right?
Except
Well, that's
for now, we we're like, oh, wear reading glasses, but don't tell nobody.
That's so true.
All right, guys. As always, like, share, review. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Hold on, I want to end with something.
Oh, go ahead, Hack. Go ahead. End with something. If you
Take
got.
the
I
microphone.
just want to power bomb Raven to end the show.
Boom.
That's all.
How you like me now?
Peace.
Thanks, boys.
Damn, Scorp, you were fucking on, dude.